All right, so this is a suggestion VA channel member. Let's jump into it.
Everyday Alex Lamong, who fled violence in South Sudan and immigrated to the U.S. in 2009, worries about his future.
I just want to be given an opportunity to start my life fresh without always worrying about, hey, will I be safe next year?
The 28-year-old is one of thousands of immigrants facing possible deportation as the Trump administration ends temporary protected status for a host of countries. Lamong, who was 11 when he came to the U.S., says his father, two brothers, and a number of family members were killed in the ongoing bloodshed engulfing South Sudan. So your whole extended family basically has been killed in South Sudan because of the violence there?
Yes, ma'am.
That must be terrifying to think about being deported back there.
Being deported there is basically like a suicide mission. The whole community is devastated because this is the only thing we've been relying on to live in States. And now that's stripped away.
As of March 31st, 2025, there are approximately 1.3 million people with temporary protected status living in the U.S., according to the American Immigration Council. The Trump administration has said it is ending TPS for at least 11 countries.
Okay, let me look at these countries here, guys. Afghanistan, Cameroon, Haiti, Honduras, Nepal. Okay, I mean, because you obviously looking at this list here, there are definitely a lot of troubling places on this list here. Nepal, I guess I could see that slightly, but less than literally all of the other countries that are on this list here. Listen, so I have no idea here. I do have a question for those of you in the comments who may actually know here. In terms of TPS, okay, so obviously if they get rid of TPS, then they obviously no longer have any access to the United States of America in a legal way. But couldn't they just attempt to I don't know, change status or something, guys? I mean, the entirety of the time that they were here, could they have not just said, you know what, hold on, listen, guys, I like this place. All right, like what can we do to kind of get things kind of moving here to the point where I can stay here, indefinitely? Obviously, a TPS most likely also came with some type of like work visa scenario. Also, maybe they just got comfortable with the status and thought that it was going to be something that was going to, I guess, be indefinite for them. But bro, change your status, right? I mean, that's a thing that happens here, specifically if you have the ability to work, hire a lawyer, start the process of that. I think that's the smarter way than to just be now kind of surprised that something that literally says temporary in the title has no permanence.
Officials have also insisted that the situations in those places no longer meet the TPS requirements. And in some cases, they've said conditions on the ground have improved enough for people to safely return.
TPS is a program that was always meant to be temporary. I know that the president wants to bring integrity to our programs and make sure that they're applied appropriately to the individuals and to the countries to which they're supposed to benefit.
But Ophelia L. Caldron, an immigration lawyer, says the Trump administration's efforts are part of a different goal than the one articulated by the administration.
I think it's part of their push to punish all immigrants, legal or otherwise, for being in the United States. I think that their movement to one by one terminate designation is a movement to piece by piece terminate TPS, period.
Yeah, guys, I'm not really sure that that's a true statement. If we can kind of strip back legitimately the emotions or the feelings specifically of what this all is here, I definitely do not think that it's being done to punish all immigrants. I don't really see that as a thing, right? But now in terms of like the illegality, that's definitely a thing. Okay, and it also looks like, based off the countries specifically that were listed here, these are vastly culturally different, let's say, non-conforming type of places based off of basically all of the countries that were just shown here. So I hear what you're saying here, right? But you have to understand that there are people, in fact, who do not like the idea of eroding what America is and has been, for the sake of basically making groups of people that are coming from places that we would never, as Americans, want to actually live. We don't want America to turn into these places. So I hear what you're saying, but you have to kind of strip it down a little bit, kind of remove the emotion and kind of look at it from a more logical standpoint here, guys. But either way,
movement to piece by piece terminate TPS, period.
There have been at least a half a dozen lawsuits seeking to push back on President Trump's efforts to end TPS, with varying results.
anybody actually who has TPS should seek legal counsel so that they can figure out if there's something that can be done.
NBC News.
See, that was logical right there. Because I think that should have probably been done within the first, I don't know, a couple of months that they were here. Probably, right? Like, okay, listen. This country allowed me and saved me from the country that I was born in, example. And the first thing I want to do now is I want to make it so I can actually stay here kind of indefinitely because I like this place. I like the culture that was basically built here. I'm trying to run from the culture that raised me because it turned out bad, right? But understand this here, guys. That's what you should have been doing initially. Said, listen, bro, I need to go ahead and convert or change my status into something that makes sense for me. Why didn't you do that immediately instead of now complaining that your temporary status is basically being removed? That doesn't make any sense here. But either way,
asked the Department of Homeland Security for comment
accountability,
on this
guys.
story and about what recourse it offers people whose TPS is ending. But we didn't hear back. In October, the Supreme Court allowed the Trump administration to revoke temporary legal status for up to 600,000 Venezuelan immigrants. Maria Sidman, who ran a medical lab in Venezuela, is worried about being forced back there. She says local political actors began threatening her for not supporting Venezuelan President Nicolas Maduro.
We was forced to leave Venezuela. It's
Okay.
not like my decision. I was forced.
Now, her TPS has
Oh,
expired,
guys, wait a
and her
second.
asylum request is still pending. Like Lamong,
Her case
she
may
says
be
she
different,
isn't
though.
sure what she will do.
The government of Venezuela have been broken so many human rights. I don't understand why you want to send us back. The situation in Venezuela, it doesn't change. It's getting worse. It's getting worse and worse every day.
Meanwhile, Lamong, a decorated track athlete and graduate of Ohio State, lives in fear as he tries to get asylum to stay in the U.S.
I'm terrified. I don't know where I'll go. I don't know. I'll just feel like another foreigner in a place where I used to know that no longer exists.
Yamiche Alcindor, NBC News.
Okay, that's interesting here. The story specifically, when we started getting into, I think her name was Maria, her story, that feels different than other stories. And let me explain. Like, you have to understand this. Many people that are coming to the United States of America under the guise of asylum, they are not really coming for like real, like legitimate reasons. Let's just say this here, that actually would qualify. Hence the reason why 80 to 90% of the people who came into the country under the guise of asylum are going to be sent back. They're going to be handed deportation orders. Why? Because their cases do not actually qualify for asylum. But that woman here, Maria, her story is a little bit different. Something tells me that if she would have came under asylum, that would have made sense, right? Like, that would have seriously made sense. The government is persecuting me. I'm being persecuted for my belief system, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. That actually kind of qualifies almost immediately for asylum. Not, I can't find work in my country, so I'm going to come to America and claim asylum. That's not it. That's economic migrancy. And that, unfortunately, is not something that we allow kind of legally. This is why 80 to 90% will be sent back, right? But her case is different. But unfortunately, she came under TPS. That means she can now say that, hey, listen, it's because I was being persecuted by the government, and I was being persecuted for my belief system, my gender, my, who I choose to marry, these type of things. That's not what you said, though, right? You're saying it now because I guess hindsight is 2020, right? So she is probably most likely going to be sent back if she's here under TPS. But if she would have come specifically under asylum, then what do you think that would have meant for her, right? It sounds like, based on her case specifically, that would have been fine here. Yeah, everything definitely. It all is a case by case basis. But the problem is what systems people are utilizing to enter into the United States of America. If you're trying to come by TPS, then that's probably not going to work. Because it's temporary. But if you were here under asylum and it was an actual asylum claim that made sense legally to a judge, it's like, yeah, great, makes sense, absolutely makes sense. But again, how could someone not from the United States of America know all the loopholes? They hear TPS, they're like, yeah, I'll come, sure, I like that, right? Refugee status, amazing. Not understanding that temporary legitimately just means temporary. But there are some cases where there will be people in fact, that have like come under TPS that are going to be sent back when they really should have actually claimed asylum, because that actually would have made more sense. And then, see, I have no problem with helping people out when they need help, guys. But if you're here under the guise of economic migrancy for the sole purpose of offering remittance to the country you basically ran from, I'm not really down with that, guys. Sorry, not really. You come here illegally, work here, send all your money back to your country to basically build a house, and then retire within 20 years after basically milking us. A little wild. Hey, listen, random guy on the internet. Who am I? Guys, do you want to watch movies with me? I never actually thought to like promote it over here, guys. But if you guys do want to watch it, guys, we have hundreds of movies. And I mean hundreds of movies that we've reacted to. You guys can come watch them with me if you want to, along with, many TV shows. Currently, we're working on the show Dexter, along with Vikings. And we have a lot of series that are already completed. But if you guys do want to watch it with me, the link is in the description. Everything's available at the second tier. But of course, if that's not your thing, guys, don't worry, right? Listen, like and subscribe.